shit, which would kind of um, make sense if you think about it, because everybody acts like they're fucking bipolar, like sickos, man. Fucking bunch of sickos is what it is. But no, I really do hate people. I hope the nukes go off and I hope millions die. I do not give a shit about humanity at all. I know I'm supposed to. I'm supposed to be this like, we're all working out. We'll work it out, guys. And it's like that's not what's gonna happen. It's not gonna work out. These fucking morons are just gonna kill each other. And Trump will try to put the shit back in the horse, but that won't stop it. And then spring and summertime. What's up, Florida? And I don't want to be a pessimistic asshole. What's up, America? I don't want to be a pessimistic asshole about the whole thing, but it's like I have no faith whatsoever that these fucking dumbasses will ever pull out of this. What's up, America? I mean, am I right? Do you have any faith? Oh, held for review. Guess I wonder why. That's working, isn't it? Nope. Yeah, by the way, any shit talking is just going to go away, so. Look at that. And why is it? Because fuck them. This is grape pie. Right there. So, how do I put it to you guys? What's up, Iowa? How you doing? I don't have faith in any Democrat or Republican. You guys, yeah, I know, Itzy. The Democrats and Republicans are not to be trusted. There's something wrong with them. And then everybody who's got too many shots is a fucking, like, has something mentally wrong with them. I don't know what to even get at, but. What?
Did you block hits or something?
Hits? Huh? Why?
What the fuck? Because this won't.
No, I blocked anything that's dumb, stupid, any of that shit. So, it's like. Yeah, I know. That's what's up, Pink? So yeah, it's not even about bullying and cyberbullying. People want other people dead now. And this is another reason I'm not really thrilled with politics anymore, is because I want you to kill each other. I want you to kill each other. Like, it's gone to one of those things where I tried to help out everybody and now I'm becoming a villain. So I want you to kill each other. I want you to fight each other in a civil war. And I want the dumbest of you fucks to shoot each other so that I don't have to deal with any of you anymore. That's what I want to see. I want to see, because then we can evolve the world. My whole perspective on it is that the rhetoric between the Democrats and the Republicans have come so bad that there's no fixing any of you. So if you're like real diehard into any political party, you have a mental illness. Well, that's true. And people are so stupid that anytime I tell them, I want you all to shoot each other and just die, then you have some shit to talk. And it just further enforces my belief that humanity is too stupid to ever survive. Your hatred in politics, your belief in radical Islam, your protest, the stupid shit you do, you deserve it. You deserve a civil war. Some of you fucks deserve to die. I don't know what to tell you. Not everybody deserves to live. What's up, America? How you doing, Ruthie? So, when I come on just to read the news and I don't take any political sides, and then you come and still talk shit to me, yeah, I do make my own decisions. That's what your mom said last night. What's that have to do with the price of eggs in China, fuckface? Me reading the news. What's that have to do with you shit talking? What could I have possibly... Oh, okay. Sorry, it's just like, Jesus Christ, man.
Do you want to close the door so it can smoke that?
What, the joint?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, hold on. Un momento, por favor. Not everyone deserves to live. No. We're not denying them their lives. They're going to shoot each other like stupid people. What's up, Nana? See, that's the thing, and that's what I implore everybody to do. You guys already know. I'm not a child. Your mom was over here sucking my dick, Emo, so remember that. So the thing is you guys already know, and I'm a grown man. I don't want a part of your stupid politics. This is the thing. You keep talking shit to me, telling me I have to change my position, this, that, or the other. I want you all to shoot each other in a civil war. I hate you. So you stupid ass Democrats and you dumbass fucking Republicans, I want you to form battle lines and I want you to shoot each other. Because when the more of you dumbasses that die, the less political problems we'll have. Because you're too radical. And you keep thinking, well, I'm the right way. I'm the right. No, you're all retarded. You're all retarded. All of your, yeah, there's a lot of news. I'll get to it. All of the politics that you postured yourself in, you have shit for brains. So like you're really hard on the Republicans, you're a dumb fuck. You're hard about the liberals, you're a dumb fuck. And you keep fighting a war that they're creating for you. And the more of you that die, the better it will be. Because there'll be less of you retards to fuck up the political evolution of our planet. Some of you out there that your whole life is just trolling and being a dumbass, when you die, it will help the world. When you're not breathing. What's up, RK? So, the way I look at it is not all of you deserve to live. What the fuck happened to this? This joint sucks. I knew there was a problem when I rolled it. Fuck. Looks like some fucking trailer park chick after 3 fucking... Well, she'll be drinking when she's pregnant there. And I didn't come to this decision lightly. What's up, America? I didn't come to this decision lightly. For 3 years, I tried to fucking make peace with you people. Here you go. On TikTok. For 1.5 years, I tried to make peace with you people here on YouTube. And before that, 10 years. I had to realize that you don't want peace. You want to kill each other. That's what I had to realize just in the last couple of days, is that you get off on it. You get off on the fight. What's up, libertarian? How you doing? Fuck yeah, social libertarian here. But I had to take a step back, obviously, after I left TikTok. And I had to come to the realization you won a war. What's up, BG? And then after I realized, I know that's strong shit. After I realized that you Republicans and you Democrats, thank you, BG, that you Republicans and you Democrats don't want to work it out, my natural response was, please kill each other. Please go do it. I can't wait. I want to see Democrats and Republicans. What's up, BG? He's the man. And thank you, Nana, for being here and everybody else. So when I want to see Republicans and I want to see Democrats line up at battle and kill each other. Because you being not alive will benefit humanity exponentially. The fact that the ones that talk all the shit, that troll, that have, you'll all be... Yeah, I know. But they all need to just shoot each other. And I have no... Oh, what's up, Callie? I just don't trust Democrats or Republicans anymore. I don't trust you. Everything you do is violent. Anger, violent, vitriol. I don't want to know you people. Hell yeah, I'm a social libertarian. But I'm called a Nazi and a communist by the most retarded in the country. So, looking at everything I've seen, and I never talked about this on TikTok because the liberals would just come at you like violent lunatics. What's up, John? What I've come to the conclusion is I'm actually a villain. I'm not a hero. And I want to lead as many politic thinking enforcers, what's up, social libertarian, into their deaths. Absolutely. Because we can never evolve the world with Democrats or Republicans existing. And not even with this shit, just the never-ending offense with every fucking thing. Do you understand the mental gymnastics that you retards, not all of you, are dealing with? Do you understand the mental gymnastics that you go through on a daily basis, discovering offense, worrying about offense, worrying about if this person did something the right way or the wrong way? How's my speech gonna be taken? That sounds like you want a real free world, doesn't it? I mean, holy shit. What's up, Marine? So, like, every Democrat and Republican. So you got Democrats calling for the arrest of people that say offensive things. And you have Republicans calling for the rich to become richer. None of you people give a shit. None of you people give a shit at all. You're too hateful to live. Or too stupid or too greedy. I don't know what. Or a combination of all of it. So let's just be real. Democrats are too worried, or progressives are too worried about offense. They don't need to have any posture. They don't need to really be in public because the world is too scary for that. The Republicans only want to help the rich. So that's not good either because they would kill their grandmother for 12 cents a profit. And then when anybody else brings up even talking about another government, maybe Democrats and Republicans are retarded and we need to have a new system. Well, we're not allowed to do that. Then as soon as I mention that, now the knives are out for me because I didn't choose your chimp-like side. I have to choose Democrat or Republican. And if I don't, you're going to make me say fuck ICE. It's like, no, I don't want to be in your mental illness that you're continuing to dive into every day. I can say, like Alex Pretty, was he murdered? Probably. Or at least manslaughter. But Republicans are going to say, yeah, it's fine to kill him. And Democrats are going to say, he should be able to kill a guy and not get in. And it's like, you both are fucking stupid. So the Democrats want me to believe that Alex Pretty deserved not even an officer looking his direction. While the Republicans want me to believe that it's okay to blow his brains out on the street. And both of you are retarded for that. You know, it's not one or the other, but you've made it that way. I didn't make it that way. All as I did was attempt to choose a position. But you told me I have to act a certain way or a certain thing. I must believe this or that. And I don't have to believe a goddamn thing any of you fuckfaces tell me. I don't have to believe anything at all. And neither do you. I can be a social libertarian, sit here and smoke my weed with my fucking firearm and watch a man die and not get involved. We went over it yesterday. Trump's pulling out. I'm supposed to be offended that Trump is leaving. But I'm also supposed to not be offended that they shot an American citizen. Well, what do you mean if they shot an illegal, would you be upset? No, not as bad. No, I wouldn't. You want to know the truth? If he shot an illegal, I wouldn't be as upset. You want me to lie to you? Oh, no, I would be just as upset. No, if his name was Paco Raul and he came up illegally from Honduras, I wouldn't care as much. You want me to lie to you? Oh, I would be just as upset. No, I wouldn't. The one guy's an American citizen that had the legal right to carry. The other guy's illegal. He doesn't have due process, so I don't care. Well, you need to. I don't need to do a goddamn thing. I don't need to do a fucking motherfuck. I can sit here and say, oh, an illegal got shot. Oh, well. And then, oh, my God, they killed an American. You make a difference? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yeah, it's your sister, baby. And so why is that? Well, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of your mental illness. Thank you, Junk. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of your mental illness, dissecting everything as if I'm a fucking prosecutor or a lawyer every day. You guys are protesting and you have to have legal aid on the street. I don't want to do any of that with you fucks. All right? And that's the thing. If you were true liberals, you wouldn't want violence, but you're not. And if you were true conservatives, you wouldn't want to fight your brothers, but you're not. You're all bastardized in one way or another. You are fake Republicans that are actually masquerading as fascists, but they're not. It's a different thing. You just don't care in certain ways, as long as the gravy train keeps coming. But you're a liberal, but you're only a liberal because you don't have anything in America. Damn straight, Caligo. And so you out there that are liberals, you're a liberal because you don't have or possess. And the ones that do are upset that the others don't have or possess. Because you're liberals and you say that there's a lot of poverty out there. We'd like to help, but you know they're not going to help because liberals won't give up the money, the billionaires, to help. But then you're a conservative and you say, well, if we give the billionaires more money, it'll trickle down to us. That won't happen either. But those are your only two choices. And anything else, like me, is considered verboten, weird, fucked up. And I've gone on long enough with the pro-Trump train, and I've gone on long enough with the pro-social libertarian train to know that nothing is happening. Nothing is coming. Don't come in here running your damn right, Nana. Thank you. So I have no hope for it. And you say, well, why do I call these people names? Because the people that react to what I'm saying don't have anything good to say. Some of you people that have been here for a long time, like Nana and BG, the reason you're here is because you still have something good to say. You have productive things to put in to the conversation. These other retards are just there as a mouthpiece for their side. And so they'll like me until I say something against their side. So if I speak well of the Republicans and Trump, I'll have a bunch of people follow me. But the second I disavow that, boom, all of a sudden, I'm not allowed to say my piece or I'll get lambasted. So if I say, oh, the Democrats, oh, hell yeah, what's up, Danny? Thank you, my friend. And if I say something positive to the Democrats, then my Republican followers look at me like I'm Brutus and I'm stabbing them in the fucking back. And that's not what this is. And I'm trying to tell people, politics is not a you don't slosh back and forth. There's other positions you can take politically. But some people are so stupid or so Islamic that, well, okay, you got a point there, Hans. But at least you know what we're talking about here. I'm assuming you're German and you have a good education. So there you go. If that's the case, then we need to get into Hannibal and how it wasn't really an invasion of Rome. It was more of a survival after they lost so many coming over the Alps. Whole other topic. Nevertheless, I just want everybody. Thank you, Puff. Pat Brown. It's my wife. My wife puts the roach clips. Oh, hemostats. Right, baby? So. But I just want everybody to know, and this is what I'm trying to get at, what I've been trying to get at for years, and the trolls are just retarded, is there are other political parties that you can have that you're being hidden from. You're not allowed to vote for them. They won't put them out there for you. We're not a democracy here. We're a constitutional republic. But there's so many types of governments. And out of the 250 governments that I've been over in my tenure in life, you only choose 2 of them. The fuck is wrong with you? That's like saying you have 200 restaurants to choose from, but you only go to Burger King and McDonald's. Now, I do have a concentrate pen over here. I like that. And so my whole thing is, why can't you form a new government? Why is it so hard for you here in America? Hell yeah, Anthony. Why is it so difficult to form another government that's not Republican or conservative? You have so many types. So many types, and nobody will ever do it. And all I wanted to do out of this whole bullshit was form a... You want to know, like, do you want to know what I was trying to do on TikTok? Rosin is great. Oh, yes. All I wanted to do on TikTok, I didn't care about making money. It was nice. I wanted to make a fucking political party that wasn't these retards. That's it. Something that people could vote for, and you guys were too angry at everybody to even make it happen. Everybody was too angry, Gesundheit, to make any of this happen. Did you know the entire world, except for Vatican City, Oman, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, and Brunei, call themselves democracies? North Korea says it's a democracy. China says it's a democracy. Burma says it's a democracy. Sorry, Myanmar, whatever. Brazil, Peru, Mexico, us. We all claim to be a type of democracy. We're not. That's stupid. And everybody says we're going to be protecting democracy. Democracy sucks. What's up, Puff? Democracy's a piece of shit. Wasn't it a democracy that got Socrates to be executed or to kill himself? So, I'm not really sure why you want a democracy. Like, I don't get it. Why do you want that? They voted to kill Socrates, and he was right. Democracy sucks. It's not good. Nein Waffen. Ich bin Ireland und Deutscher. Ein Schweizerland. Ich bin 43 Jahre alt. Ein Volk, ein Deutscher, ein one I can't say. Nevertheless, you guys need to branch out on governments, all right? And so, whether you're liberal or conservative, I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions here. Yes. First of all, for Democrats, and I don't know, I know some of your politics, but not a lot of you. So for liberals, do you believe the Democrats are failures? Your mom's a clown. She was sucking my dick earlier. Thanks, Penelope. Tell her I said hi. And then if you're a Republican, do you believe that Trump has been a failure? MAGA, or even Rhino Republicans. Most of you will say, yes, the Democrats and the Republicans suck dick. Okay, so why do you keep voting for them? Because we have no other choice, right? We have no other choice, right? Yeah, you have plenty of choice. You're just not doing it. You keep voting for incumbents. 86% of incumbents keep being elected. I'm a weak-minded person because I'm looking for what, a better politics than you? You're a fucking bitch. And you sucked my dick. Have fun. Like, this isn't what we're doing here. I just block you. So, this isn't your fucking live. Okay? You can either block me and leave, or I'm just gonna, I don't care. So, fuck you. I don't have to choose your stupid politics. I don't have to choose anything you want for me or tell me. I know they don't. People are retarded. Average IQ of the world is somewhere in the 80s. I absolutely believe it. Anthony. So what I implore is everybody to learn new politics. But they won't because, well, my daddy voted Republican. Looks like I'm doing it. Or my great-grandpa was a Democrat. Lifelong, we doing it. It's like, well, do you know, like, did you have any thought of why you're voting this way or the other? Or do you just do it, kind of like jerking off or vomiting? Is that what it is? And it's like, yes, that's what we do. Oh, okay. Straight ticket every time? Oh, straight ticket, huh? Really? So you straight ticket every time. Wow. That really takes some doing. That takes intelligence. Getting that ballot and just hitting straight ticket and putting it in. Really? That's what you do? Wow. Because that shows you had no brains at all. What's up, America? Of course, at the same time, does it really matter? If you're in Indiana, for instance, it doesn't matter if I vote Democrat. I'll lose. If I'm in New York and I vote Republican, my voice doesn't matter already. My voice doesn't matter in any state. But it certainly doesn't matter in the government. But even if it does, someone will just fuck it up. So, can't we have a better party? Something that can at least have enough seats in the government to manipulate. No, fuck democracy. I just went over this. Democracy can suck my dick. So, real quick, I'm going to go over... Sorry, the weed is strong. Yes, there'll be more of it. I'm going to go over several types of politics that you can choose from. What's up, SLD? And I want you to ask yourself or let me know, does any of this sound good or does this suck? So, the first form of government I'm going to talk about is called a confederation. Now, let me know if this is good or if it sucks. A confederation is a union of sovereign states united for a purpose of common action in relation to other states created by a treaty. Confederations are a state of states that are usually established dealing with critical issues such as government funding, government military, foreign relations, and currencies, but the Confederated States have their own form of interaction in government, often acting as near sovereign independent states within the government. So, that's sort of what we have here, but yeah. So that's like the government, the federal government says, we control basic functions of shit. But your state basically chooses the difference instead of having a superseding by the federal government like we have here. So basically, if you don't like your state, you pack up and move to another state. That's basically the rights given. So that's a confederation. Then we also have a federation. That's what Germany is now. Oh, yes, it is. I like the weed. And we're going to have more of that, more coming up here. 2 different types of concentrate tonight, my friend, and the old matcha powder to make sure. So a federation, also known as a federal state, is a political entity characterized by a union of partially self-governing states. The United States now actually claims itself as a federation of states. We keep calling ourselves a United States of America, a constitutional republic. And we're a constitutional government, but we're a constitutional federation. No, I'm a social libertarian. So what this is it would basically be like a state-run government system, but the federal government kicks in a little more sovereign power. On top of having control over universities, health, and foreign affairs and internal affairs. Thank you, Liquid. And then you have what's called a unitary state. This is a state that's the government's a single central government. Ultimately, supreme and administrative divisions. So these are like United Nations states. This is what China is. That's a unitary state where you have multiple states, but it's governed harshly or sovereignly by the. So one is the states are in control with a loose federal government. The one is a middle of the road, and the other one is more of a government control with loose autonomous authority. So the states don't have a lot of self-control outside of the government, but they have some. So basically, what's your wiggle? Do you want autonomy? Do you want middle of the road or government control? Those are your 3 up and downs. We are definitely pre-Civil War. So the United States right now is in between a federation and a unitary state. Because beforehand, most of us, we've been in a federation. But coming up until recently with Trump controlling more power, and he is starting to pull it back with getting rid of ICE in Minnesota, we are heading towards a unitary state. Now, the United Kingdom is in China, and a couple other countries are basically involved in that. And then within those 3 types of, I like Jesus. Jesus is Lord. And so you have like the libertarian style, which would be a confederation, loosely. And then you have the middle of the road style, which is a federation, and the totalitarian, which is a unitary system. So within those systems, you have other forms of government. So I'm more libertarian leaning. I don't like anybody telling me what to do. Probably I have a mental illness of oppositional defiant disorder, but I digress. Then you have these types of states. You have an autocracy. Now, these are within those 3 styles I mentioned. An autocracy would be like Saudi Arabia or Nazi Germany or North Korea. This is a system of government with supreme power, social and political, coming from one person or one group of people, right? So you could have like a 3-man, a 5-man, a 2-man, 1-man group of power players that are in charge. Saudi Arabia's got a family. Yeah, oh no, there's nothing wrong with being a Christian. I think it's good. So countries like this today are like Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Oman, Brunei, Eswatini, which is, I believe, Swaziland. And those are what are considered political and social dictatorships. So nobody really wants an autocracy. The positive gain on an autocracy is very fast movement on decision making. No, I'm not simping. Were you the guy simping for ICE? No. No, I was just screaming. I was talking about the guy getting murdered yesterday. So I wish you were here. Now on TikTok, I was there for a while, but I did mostly archaeology and then yelling about prices. So like my electric bill, the cost of meat, that was my big, telling Walmart to suck my dick, those types of things. I have a problem with Walmart. It's a sickness, probably. Anyway, the next form is an oligarchy. Now, there's a guy that looks similar to me. There's a couple of people. That guy wears more of a hat, though. I think I know who you're talking about, though. Anyway, oligarchy. Now, this is what a lot of people have said they're worried about with oligarchy. And that's a form of power structure, which is a rule by the small amount. These people are distinguished notably by wealth, family, education, corporate ties, religious, military, or autocratic rule. So those would be like the United States is leaning into that right now. We're considered an oligarchy here in the United States. That's not a liberal talking point. That's a political science talking point. Russia, the United States, South Africa up till 1994, and the Brazilian Republic from 1894 to 1930. Krishna, didn't he leave the palace because he wanted to see what the suffering of man was like on the outside? Now, the next system is a democracy. Now, a democracy, that's the rule of the people, and that's a system in government in which the citizens exercise direct power or elected representatives such as a parliament or governing body. However, the rule of the majority is what differentiates a democracy from other federated states. Now, these countries and actual democracies do exist. Mob rule, 4951. France is a democracy. Germany is a federated democracy. Cape Verde, Chile, Estonia, and Ireland. Those are democracies. Those are classic parliamentarian democracies, if you want to call it that. The most notable being probably France, although I would argue that's kind of gone totalitarian. Aren't those the airport people? Yes, absolutely. So then you have another system of government that's misdirected a lot called anarchy. Now, some people say it's non-governance, but it also doesn't necessarily mean that. In some cases it does, but in other cases it emphasizes autonomy, decentralization, or direct democracy, or consensus democracy. Not necessarily meaning just a bunch of psychos saying that it's basically a hyper democracy or just a lack of government. So in 1903, you had a commune in China like that. Some of the earlier associations with this came in the early 1900s. Yeah, feudalism. That's what we're in right now, is a mix of oligarchy with neo-feudalism. And the problem is a variety of anarchists. Some say that violence and force is necessary for change, while others discourage violence and force. And so it really depends, because, of course, in that sense, if you had all anarchy, you would have a bunch of warlords going after, so it would be an odd type of situation. So when you break down democracy, you have a demarchy, which that's what Athens was. They got Socrates killed. And that has citizen juries, policy juries, consensus conferences, but that's subject to a lot of emotional rule. And so if you have a demarchy and it's a democracy, that can get people killing people because the democracy said so. Then you have a census democracy. That was the old England. Old France, first French Empire. That's a vote which is restricted to part of the population, i.e. the working class, lower class, or even the wealthy. That's a problem. You have a direct democracy, and of course that Switzerland is semi-direct. And that's where the people vote for everything. Whatever it is, you have a vote for it. And if it's majority, then you get it. And if it's not, then fuck yourself. So some people argue that's what we should be. I argue it needs to be better than that, but then I also don't want to pass laws with 60% because that's stupid. I mean, am I right? Look at Florida. So then you have an electocracy. That's a form of representative democracy where citizens are able to vote for their own government but cannot participate in the government. That's sucky. So Iraq is like that. Damn right, 2011. Damn right it is. So an electocracy is like Iraq now. That's dangerous. You have an ergotocracy, which is a rule by the workers, the proletariat, or a dictatorship by the proletariat. That's okay to a point until you start getting wealth, and that has a dangerous push into communism. Then you have what's called a Hernevolk democracy. So that's what the Confederate here in America was. Elections may be free. Voting is restricted based on race. During the occupation of Palestine with Israel, they said that was another form of that type of government. Then, of course, you have a liberal democracy. That's what most of your left-wing people that are saying, we want democracy. This is what they're talking about. That's like Germany, New Zealand. Germany's another form of it. New Zealand, the Netherlands, Thailand, Costa Rica, Uruguay, Mauritius. These are called liberal democracies. This is representative democracies that operate under liberalism or left-leaning financials and social governance. So that's characterized by free elections that are basically, they have multiple political parties, most of them being left, with the right wing being either pushed out or canceled out, focusing mainly on human rights, civil liberties, shit like that, where economics are generally put on the back burner. Now, this is the governance by a social contract that's been changed. I'll get into my politics in a minute because I'm still fucking with them. Because it's like, I've read my politics on here in a while. I call myself a social libertarian, but I think that's too broad, really. So then you have what's called a liquid democracy. These are which people represent themselves or choose only temporary delegates for certain things. Now, that's fun and all, but that's not practical. Then you have a representative democracy where citizens or country elect representatives and implement public policy. Now, that represents almost all Democrat governments, including a tinge of it here in the United States. I would argue that the Supreme Court has the overall power above everything because, as you know, Senate, the House of Representatives, and even the president waits for a decision from the Supreme Court. The one TikTok is still there, Sup America. The other one is gone because, I don't know. You ask them. I gave up on it. Because fuck TikTok. Social democracy, those are also like Norway, Denmark, Finland. Those are the Nordic countries. Those are participatory democracy with representative democracy, free market economics, social interventionism. And that puts a lot of money and systems into social policies. But if you start bringing over a lot of illegal aliens, it'll fuck it up, which you're seeing happen in the Nordic countries now as their systems cannot contain. So you had a finite amount of people that could use, hell yeah, Cali, yeah. You had a finite amount of people that could use the systems in Scandinavian countries. And then if you bump up the illegal migrants 40%, it collapses the Cloward Piven. You know how it works. You overload the system, it breaks it down to change forms of government. And then that's like New Zealand, similar. Then you have a social or Soviet democracy. That was after the Soviet Union collapsed. And that's just provisional anyway. You have a totalitarian democracy. So if you know who Pol Pot is, that shot all his people. That's a totalitarian democracy. That's an electocracy, which is elected, but then turns into a dictatorship. Using democracy to give over decision-making And that's what happened to Pol Pot. And he was a piece of shit, of course. What's up, Meep? Then you have an electoral autocracy. It's a hybrid regime in which you elect a president and they have full power till the next time. Swedish bikini team. Then you have Rwanda, Uganda, and Algeria, which, considering what Uganda and Rwanda went through, this is actually a better form of government than what Idi Amin or the Tutsi and Hutu murder fest brought back in the 90s. Then you have a digital democracy. Estonia is starting this. So if you remember hearing about Estonia, what's up, America? How you doing, Kimberly? If you remember hearing about Estonia having an AI representative, Estonia is getting into a digital democracy where you're using AI and computing to make your decisions for you. And so this is a historical new government system that just came out a couple of years ago and has been implemented through that way. So I don't know what they just gave up. So I don't really know what your thoughts are on something like that, if you're into the technology running your government for you. But that's what it is. So, and then we have historical types of government. And want to know if you like any of these. Let me know. So far, do any of these governments sound good, or do these all suck dick? Right? That's basically what I'm getting at here. Like, are these terrible or are they tolerable? Because most of them are kind of close to each other. Constitutional Republic, we'll get into that. So the historical forms, a loose confederacy, that'd be not many people telling you what to do at your level. That's true. You could just leave for a new country. All of them suck. Then you have the classical one called an aristocracy, which is the rule of the nobility. That's like the Holy Roman Empire, Russian Tsars. Man, they're dying for us to go out and work. Or the Kingdom of France. You don't want an aristocracy where the wealthy and elite inbred fuckbags rule your shit. You don't want that. All right, then you have a genocracy. That's a rule by the intelligent. Now, here's where we start getting into some governments that I would like to be a part of. This particular government is called a geniocracy. And this is a rule by the intelligent. Governance where creativity, innovation, and intelligence and wisdom are required for those who wish to rule. Meaning that stupid people cannot rule. I don't think dumb people should be in charge of anything. Do you? So, then there's a homocracy. This is a joint rule of retaining joint rule of different regions. So that would be, a homocracy where you would split Democrats and Republicans to two separate nations, and they would both rule over equal existing parts. Now, we've actually heard this, where Democrats have said, let's just form our own country, and same with Republicans. That's called a homocracy, where you're still one nation, but you rule it as two-part system. And they are hard up, damn. We must be like the top king shit or whatever. So it depends on if you like that. If you don't think Democrats and Republicans can get along, that's kind of religiously what they did in India when they separated India from Pakistan, and then once again later on with Bangladesh. Then you have a system called a cratocracy. That's the rule of the strong. I don't think that's probably a good government, because a lot of strong people may not power through physical force or cunning. The last three governments I've named, there is none of them like that have ever actually existed. not in any realistic form. Then you have a Kritarchy, which is like Iceland and Somalia. Oh, wait, the Icelandic Commonwealth. Damn, so this is a rule by various judges. A system of governments comprised of law enforcement institutions in which the state and legal systems are traditionally or constitutionally the same entity. Magistrates and others magistrates and other adjudicators have the legal power to legislate and administrate these enforcements of government laws. I'm not sure if that would be good in America, so I'm not into that. Then there's a meritocracy. That's a rule by the best, based on your ability, knowledge in a given area, or contributions to society. What's up, Grim? So that's like Singapore, the Asante Empire of Ghana that went away in 1901, and the Rashidun Caliphate. So far, I believe, well, that's the thing. Who decides who's best? There you go. So far, a mixing of meritocracy and geniocracy look like the two best. Because that's the smart and the most, the best at merit. Now, we would have to have a system, but who decides who's best? So anyway, then you have a netocracy. That's a rule by the digital literate. An aristocracy of the technologically intelligent. Nobody does that. Then a newocracy, which is a rule by the wise. Thank you, Kimberly. Hell yes. A rule by the wise. That would be nice, but once again, how do you decide who's wise? Then you have a plutocracy. Now, some people say we're involved in that too. That's a rule by the wealthy. The Dutch Republic till 1795 and the Republic of Venice were all those plutocracies. I think the rule by the wealthy is probably terrible, and I would hate to be a part of that. Then you have a patriarchy. Oh, I'm sorry, a patisari, a paticari. Who the fuck? Anyway, that's a rule by a dominant political party. That was East Germany and South Africa. Now, then you have a stratocracy, which is Myanmar. That's a rule by military service. Then you have a synarchism, which is a rule by the secret elite. That was Hong Kong from 1841 to 1997. Then you have a technocracy, a rule by the educated or technical experts. That was Soviet Union technically mixed with communism from 1953 to 1991. Then you have a theocracy. That's a rule by religion. You have Vatican City is like that. Iran and Afghanistan now are like that. The Abbasid Caliphate till 1517 was like that. And Mongolia was like that from 1911 to 1915. That's a terrible government. You don't want a system like that. And then you have and I'll just go democracy, rule by the honorable, civilian dictatorships or military dictatorships. You have, and these are bad ones, banana republics, a bankocracy. Yes, that's a rule by a bank. Rule by corporations is a corporatocracy. A kakocracy, rule by the worst. Kleptocracy, a rule by thieves. Neptocracy were nephews. Why would you do that? And an holocracy, a rule by the crowd. Then you have an adhocracy, which is a bureaucracy government, and anarchy, power is not vested in public institutions, authoritarianism, banned society, bureaucracy, colonialism, military junta, nomocracy, cyberocracy, it's exactly what you think, algorithmocracy, which is a rule by algorithms to make laws, and isocracy, a country where everyone has political equal power, monarchy, you know what that is, a republic, which we claim to be. You have an absolute monarchy, a constitutional monarchy, a crowned republic, an elective monarchy, a self-proclaimed monarchy like Napoleon, where he just crowned himself king and said, fuck you. Then you have classic republics. You have constitutional republics, says the United States, democratic republics, federal republics, Islamic republics, paramilitary republics, presidential republics, people's republics like China, semi-presidential republics, directorial republics, merchant republics, often referred to as mercantilism, anarchism, capitalism, colonialism, communism, despotism, distributionism, feudalism. Fuck that bullshit. Feudalism can suck my left nutsack. Yes, there's 2 nutsacks, 4 balls. Minocrism, monarchism, republicanism, socialism, totalitarianism, tribalism, national government, city-states, communes, intergovernmental organizations, world governments, and a bunch of other titties out on the table governments, client states, protector of satellite states, vassal colonies, colony governments, homogenies, federal monarchies, empires, federacies, juntas, mandates, military frontiers, neutral zones, non-self-governing territories, occupied territories, provisional governments, thalassocracies, corporate republics, collective consciousness, secret societies, theonomies, a theonomy ruled by Christian governments, megocracy, and synthetic technocracies. Fuck you. Jesus Christ. And we got other categories too. These are this is how many fucking governments you have to choose from. What's up, Dirk? This is how many governments you have the possibility to choose from. And then you also have political ideologies, which is another bag of shit. I mean, you have everything, anarchism, informal anarchism, international confederation of anarchists, international workers associations, individualism, egoist anarchism, communist egoism, legalism, explorative anarchism, philosophical, libertarianism, left-leaning libertarianism, libertarian socialism, social libertarianism. So you hear that? Libertarian socialism and social libertarianism. Fucking shit. Mutualism, socially. I mean, I can't even read how many. I would be here for an hour going through every goddamn form of everything from Christian democracy to Satanism, satanic communism, Trotskyism, League of Fifth Internationals, International Communist Union, Barracks Communism, Belenquism, Trotskyism, Leninism, Trotskyism, Vanguardism, Shiism, War Communism, Castroism. These are just Marxist ones. Libertarians, anarcho-libertarian, ego-libertarian, communism, I mean, blah, 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 blah. And they all have their stupid-ass symbols. Ultra-leftism. It's not as left-leaning as you'd think. Holy shit. Third camp. Some of these are like cultism. Some of these are suicide societies. It's like, what the fuck? Primitive communism. I mean, there are 600 forms of communism. And then you get over here, there's 250 forms of democracy. I mean, look at the fascism. Look how many You say, well, you don't want to be a fascist. Well, I don't know. Maybe I do. There's 78 forms of it. Maybe you just didn't get the right one. I mean, listen to this shit. You have World Union of National Socialists, which is Nazism, classical fascism, crypto-fascism, eco-fascism. That's a real thing. Neo-fascism, para-fascism, post-fascism, proto-fascism, technico-fascism, alt-right Groyper fascism, Aryan fascism, corporate statism, conservative fascism, fascist corporatism, fascist mysticism, esoteric fascism, fascist syndicate, feudal fascism, Nazism, neo-Nazism, nouvelle droite. I'm assuming that's French fascism. Palagotonic ultranationalism, radical nationalism, supermasochism. Not supermasochism. So what is that? You like to really fuck with people? Third position, ultranationalism, medicsism, right-wing accelerationism. Then you have anti-authoritarianism, anti-militantism, blah, 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 blah. It goes on and fucking on. There's religious variants. You have Christian fascism, whatever the fuck that would be. Christian fascism. What the fuck could that possibly be? Christian fascism? So what, you kill a bunch of Jewish people in the name of Jesus? Is that what we're doing? Holy fuck. Then that goes into another ball of wax, doesn't it? That's got all kinds of connotations that I don't even want to begin to talk about. And some countries actually adopted some of that shit. Look up you'll tell you what, you want to hear some fucked up shit? Look up Jasenovac concentration camp. You thought Auschwitz was bad? Look up Jasenovac. Jasenovac. It was in Croatia. They used to have a little knife. They'd cut people and throw them in a river. They used to smush people with a hammer, like a big clown mallet, like at the circus. Yeah, it's a fucked up place. They did this one thing where they took a bunch of kids and they put them on a raft and they sent them out in the middle of a treacherous river. And they said, we're pulling you to your freedom. They got them 2/3 of the way over and MG-42'd all of them, giving them hope to almost get to the edge so they could fuck with them. That's the concentration camps where the Catholic priests took part. Yeah, oh, you don't want to know that, do you? I'll bet you don't. Because you can't handle that shit. That'll bring your whole world down. A man in the cloth cutting someone's throat. That's fucked, isn't it? Yeah, I never thought that would... There's the... Yeah, light of day existed. Have a look at that one. It wasn't collective back in the 90s, damn straight. So you even have age-related movements. Anti-abortion, children's rights, International Council of Women, abolitionism. My favorite one was... The dumbest one was the... what was it? Prohibitionism. Then you have animal protectionism. But the thing is there's 600 to 1,000, 2,000 forms of government. So you can sit here and talk shit like you're a fucking idiot. But my whole thing is, why do you keep voting Democrat or Republican when there's so many different choices of government? Oh, hell yeah, sent me 2,000, I wish. Thank you, my friend. But what choice of government? Like, you have all these choices. This is what I'm getting at here. Is you have 2,500, 3,000, 4,000 types of government. Okay. So why do you keep voting for the two-party dumb fucks you keep getting into? I just read you 650 types of government, and that's not even a third of the way through. Yet you keep voting for these retards. Why? Why haven't we created a new political party yet? That was my whole point of even being on TikTok back in the day, was creating a new political party so I didn't have to vote Democrat or Republican. Get mayors at the local level, and then we're something else that comes with the best parts of government that isn't Democrat or Republican, right? Because it's a lot easier that way to not have to deal with this dumbass bullshit. It really is dumbass bullshit. I mean, I don't really know how to say anything because you're not going to stop fighting with each other. Like the Democrats are not going to stop, and the Republicans, because you're on a totalitarian, narrow political compass, like right here, and you're both stuck there, and you can't get out of it because I don't really understand why. Is it the jab? Is it just mental illness? I don't get why you are so stuck there. And if you don't like it, you just talk shit as if I'm the mouthpiece for one of your political enemies. And I'm trying to figure out here how everybody has such a low IQ to keep voting for the same two idiots. Because coming up here, you're going to have a midterm election that the Republicans are going to lose. And then you're going to be able to vote for either Gavin Newsom and whoever the fuck he chooses, or J.D. Vance. And you're not going to advance the country with any of those men. But you're going to vote for him anyway. Like you have some choice. And you're going to get behind him. And you're going to wear the stupid red, white, and blue hats and the dumbass looking vests. Yeah, I know. You're going to be a boomer and you're going to put on a vest. It's going to be blue here, red here with white stripes. And you're going to look like a fucking douchebag. But you're going to do it. You're going to have a little hat that says Newsom on it or Vance. And I'm going to sit there and be like, you're fucking stupid. Neither of these people will fix America. But you don't care because it's like what do they call that? It's like simian. It's very simian. It's like tribes of monkeys. Tribes of monkeys. The Dirk. Holy shit. Oh, that's funny. And what happens is in the wild, and I'm an anthropologist, so I know primatology, is you'll have rival groups of monkeys that will actually fight each other with sticks and rocks and throw feces at one another. So they'll monkeys, chimpanzees actually form groups and fight each other. What's up, America? So we've spotted this when I was in college learning about this, the behavior of chimpanzees, where there would be 5 to 7, maybe even 10 chimpanzees that would fight against other groups and rivals to take over their areas with certain types of fruits and grasses and things that they would eat. And even supplies of meat that were dropped because, they're omnivores. So this is, and then when they didn't have rice and bananas, and when they didn't have rocks or sticks, because chimpanzees use tools, they would shit in their hand and throw it at their rivals. And that's effectively what you're doing politically with Democrats and Republicans. They have you so fucking stupid that you're shitting in your hand and you're throwing it at your rival. And in some cases, you've actually done that. Thank you, April. And in some cases, you've actually thrown feces and piss at your rivals. You did it during the BLM riots. You were shitting in bags, throwing it, and you were filling bottles of piss and throwing it at ICE officers. So very similar to chimpanzee behavior, both on all political fronts. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, look at that. The orangutans are out again. And the chimpanzees, they're sitting there throwing feces at one another again. I remember a police officer getting a turd thrown at him. So somebody actually took the time to either shit in their hand. I would hope it would have a napkin. Something tells me it didn't. Probably because they wanted to get lobbing distance on it. Well, I'll just wash mine. It's like you shit in your hand and you threw it at a cop. You're right up there with simian. And I don't really know how else to say it. And then you say, well, we're going to fight in the streets. You're just a bunch of animals fighting with each other. You're a bunch of dumbass, reactionary, low IQ animals. You get out in the streets and you fight, you scream, you blow a whistle, you say the same dumbass phrases protesting over and over again. But then if you're on the side of authority, you pull out a gun and you shoot somebody because you're a reactionary fuckbag. So my whole thing is like, is it because of the water? You know what I'm saying? Is it because of the water that all this happened? Is it the jab? Is it the food? Is it the plastic? Like, what is it? Because something needs to give here. None of you, like I grew up, I'm 43, so I grew up with the same people that are doing this shit. Now, I understand the young people, they've always been reactionary. So teenagers and early college years, they'll always go out and protest over anything because that's just what it is. But a lot of you like older people and boomers, like what the fuck is wrong with you? Like you keep telling everybody to get a job and work harder because you got a house for $12,000 that now costs 500 grand, but you're sure not doing anything. You're sure out there protesting, and it's just you seem like a fucking idiot. Like I don't know what it is. So, how did it come to this lowly state that we're in? And people keep saying, well, the world's laughing at America because of Donald Trump. It's like, no, they're not laughing at America because of Donald Trump. They were laughing at us long before that. I lived overseas in Australia in 2007, and there was a contingent that didn't like Americans back then because of the Iraq War. So what the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is something new. Well, we're respected now. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're feared. You're not respected. People talk shit to you and they know you can destroy them. So that's where the power comes. And you don't know the difference. That's the problem. You see, you don't know the difference. You think that power equals love. No, power just equals fear. They don't want to get blown up. But they understand that you can. You can liquefy their insides. But they don't like you. And it's like, well, what do you mean? What do you mean they don't like us? Well, the reason being is because we used to have these things that were called economic spheres of influence. And economic spheres of influence kept things like empirical forces running rampant in the world or other power sharing sources. So now what you have, concentrate, my love. So now what you have is a trilateral power sharing situation that's starting in the world. You have China that's coming up very quickly, even though we're still ahead. And then you have the Euro state, which is, well, you have more than three. The Euro state, which is trying to outpace America. Spoiler alert, they won't. And then you have the Chinese or the Sino state that will be marching, rearing its ugly head throughout the world coming up here in the next decade or so as they solidify the Belt and Road Initiative, not just on land, but also the Maritime Belt and Road Initiative through sea. And then, of course, they will invade Taiwan, which they will see as a reunification and the official end of nationalist China. Japan will be declared somewhat of an enemy. And if it's done right, you won't be in World War III. If Japan apologizes for the rape of Nanking, which China will want duty for that, Japan will not give that, so that's a problem. And China doesn't give a fuck about taking the Philippines either, so remember that. The United States will not get involved in a war with China. Even if Taiwan is invaded, we will help evacuate. But we will get in a war if Japan, South Korea, or Philippines are fucked with. And so why? It's because we play favorites. We took the Philippines with our own men. We took Japan as a spoil of war. Same with South Korea. That was a treaty. So therefore, those are spoils of war you won't touch. Same with the Northern Mariana Islands. You will not be touching Guam, Tinian, or Saipan. Yeah, I'm only doing lives over here. TikTok can suck my ass. They have a new thing. I'm like, oh, I could. Then they're like, I could start another account over there. I have one just called Sup America, but I'm not gonna start another political account over there. I don't know how Larry Ellison's shit is, and I don't trust him. So, what are these idiots saying with their?
Just said TikTok is gaming.
Oh, it is.
Did it show up?
No, it just says.
It doesn't show up.
No, it says this message is held for review.
Well, no, it just said TikTok.
Oh. So after I was banned my 9th time, yeah, I don't either, Blazing. And so one thing is people get too familiar. I see yours now, David. What's up, BG? Hell yeah, thank you. Well, it's still showing. I don't know what's happening.
There it is.
There it is. Fuck yeah, baby. Thank you. So BG has known me a while on here and off app. I hate both political sides. And everybody gets a little familiar. Strangers on social media get too familiar. And they think that they know me because I've taken a position one day. So I voted for Trump twice. And I screamed at him for 3 weeks about student loans. And about social media. And about the Epstein files. And there's 10 different things I haven't been on board with Trump about. But I believe that you ran a shitty game with Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris sucked. Hell yeah, Dirk. Hell yeah. Fuck. So, you can hate me all you want. I thought Kamala Harris was a weak-ass bullshit candidate. That I wouldn't have wiped someone's smegma from their uncut dick on. How's that sound? And so, Kamala Harris didn't lose because of I hope you hate me. Go fuck yourself, Daniel. Kamala Harris didn't lose because she was so fucking good and it just played against her. Kamala Harris lost because she sucked. And you can't convince me otherwise. And the fact of the matter that some of you, when I say she sucks, continue to say, well, and they just talk shit to me. Your side was yelling at a baby in a stroller. Remember that. Remember that your side after a Kamala Harris rally was yelling at a 4-year-old in a stroller. You got mental illness, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, you got that. Those people that they're mentally ill. So, well, no, she was good. No, she wasn't. And I just want you liberals to admit it and tell us that you're going to do better next time. That's it. Say, I want you liberals, yeah, Kamala Harris sucked. Okay, so I'm with her, blue no matter who, Harry Sisson, right? It was all garbage. Now, you still haven't made amends for Joe Biden. Now, I'll get to Trump in a minute, okay? So I'll get to Trump in a minute. We're not talking about Trump right now. We're talking about your liberal failures. We'll get to Trump's failures momentarily. The liberal failures are, A, on Joe Biden's watch, prices doubled. Well, the president doesn't control prices. Well aware. Well aware. And you can't do the same thing with Trump either. Otherwise, you're a disingenuous fuckbag. However, there were 2 reasons prices went up under Joe Biden. One, as noted by every liberal, I did yesterday. Time is it? I might talk about. I went over a frame by frame yesterday for an hour. I mean, I'm pretty sure they clearly shot the guy when he was unarmed. Thank you, Pete. Thank you, my friend. So, Kamala Harris just didn't have it. And I want you liberals to admit it. Joe Biden could have done some things. Now, what was that? Joe Biden was under a time when corporations were thieving from people. Okay? So there was a lot. Oh, she was a shit-faced all the time. So corporations were fucking people for money. And so prices went up high from corporate price gouging. But under Joe Biden and his energy secretary, they wanted to go carbon neutral and also remove every fossil fuel from everything. And so they tried. The monetary expense on that at ports, particularly, and on top of that, the humongous failure of getting charging stations, even though $3 or $4 billion were, or 30 or 3, how much was it? Was it 300 billion for charging stations? It never got built because Democrats are ineffective when it comes to leadership. So what Democrats like to do is they like to put a bunch of money into something and then the logistics never work out. So like Gavin Newsom's high-speed rail, the reason it doesn't work is because the Democrat system of rule doesn't allow for very fast things to ever occur. So, but liberals have the advantage of having every state that's a liberal state, or most of them, being where historical centers of commerce are. The Republican states, the Republicanism, is actually a newer form of governance. Because before all this, there was no Democrats and Republicans. There were Democrats and Republicans in name, but they weren't the same. There were Whig Party. There were fucking the Democrats and the Republicans that did exist were completely different, absolutely completely different. They would have never told you that your fence had to have been a certain length. They certainly wouldn't have made weed illegal. Private prisons would have never come around under any of the classic Democrats or Republicans. You would not have had a technological police state that's starting to come out of the woodwork under Democrats or Republicans ever. Back in the early 1800s. You would have never had any bullshit like that. Now, the reciprocal argument is, well, they had slavery back then. Well, wonderful. Let's discontinue that. Let's not talk about slavery. Let's talk about the governance. Most of them operated the country on a high value dollar, where a single dollar was worth a lot because it was backed by gold or silver. Things were relatively cheap. Inflation was nearly non-existent. Deflation actually came in waves where prices would go too high and they would deflate the government or deflate the was it interest rates or whatever it was to make sure that the prices would come back up. And they did that routinely up until the 50s. Now, World War II was a big problem for economics because there was a crash in the market after World War II, and they basically changed the entire economic system because of how terrible it is. And now, right now, and this is what I'm talking about, and this is a problem. The United States shows the dollar crashing. They've removed this chart offline. It was initially released on X. The reason your dollar is so low, or the reason stuff is so low, is because the value of our dollar is failing. People don't want to understand this. The reason everything, houses are $500,000, and this happened because of corporations, by the way. Since yesterday, the value of the dollar has dropped by what, 2%? And the dollar is becoming on a steep decline. This is what happens when you use fiat currency. The value of the dollar since 1970 is down. And people are saying, really? The dollar looks good. It does not. The dollar since Well, let's go back on a chart here. Because I can go back far and the dollar's lost 97% of its value. And that's not negotiable. So like right now, our dollar is worth 0.84 euros. At one point, we were almost the same. The value of our dollar started majorly declining in 1944. And the dollar has never been the same since. So basically, in 1913, the Federal Reserve was created. Within 3 years of that, the value of the dollar dropped by 50%. Then the dollar went up slightly until the Black Thursday Wall Street crash. After the Wall Street recession, the value went up because that's what you have to do. Then you had World War II until the Bretton Woods Agreement. The value of the dollar dropped from 60% of the value at 1913 down to 10% in 1991. As of 2020, the value of the dollar is 0.05% of what it was in 1913. Biden just made it worse. Now, some school of thought are saying that the American dollar has been rising over the last 2 months, but that's not true. Because the New York Times is reporting that the percent change in the US dollar is now down 10% since January of last year. So this starts on Donald Trump's inauguration day. The value of the dollar went up initially, 1.4%, stayed at zero gain until February 26th, 2025. Since that point, the dollar has been down 10.7%. Rick Scott's position. BlackRock is involved. Oh no. Isn't Rick Scott a senator though? He's a piece of shit, but this isn't, like, BlackRock needs to be nowhere near anybody. But the value of the dollar is, so I'll just put it to you this way. In 1913, a dollar would buy 30 Hershey bars. In 1929, a dollar bought 10 rolls of paper. In 1933, a dollar bought 10 bottles of beer. 1944, a dollar bought 20 bottles of Coke. 1953, a dollar bought 10 bags of pretzels. In 1964, a dollar bought a drive-in movie ticket. In 1971, a dollar bought 17 oranges. And in 1987, a dollar bought 2 boxes of crowns. In 1997, it bought 4 grapefruits. You see what's happening here? In 2008, a dollar bought 2 lemons. In 2020, a dollar bought 1 McDonald's coffee. And in 2025, a dollar bought 1 pack of Great Value gummy worms. So since the Federal Reserve was created, you went from buying 30 chocolate bars for $1 to 1 micro bag of gummy worms, indicating your dollar is a diarrhea. And people still worship it as if it's worth anything. Now, we're not as bad as Venezuela was. We're not as bad as Zimbabwe. But right now, we're all fighting over this bullshit. This is stupid. Gold, it should tell you everything you need to know. If you're not stupid, gold is $5,100 an ounce. My wedding ring could buy a trip to Hawaii. My wedding ring could buy a trip to Hawaii. That's insane because the value of the gold is representational of the value of the dollar. The higher the gold value, the lower the value of the fiat currency. The only thing that will get rid of this is the death of the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve must be removed. And it's the only way that it'll fix it because the Federal Reserve is creating nothing but inflation. And it's built-in inflation and built-in interest payments. So every year, your tax dollars pay more in interest and in inflation. You have 2 to 3% built-in inflation, meaning every year your dollar is worthless. What's up, Donnie? And every year you also have to pay a rising inflationary rate. Now, it's no wonder why they keep pushing your retirement age. When you say, well, I was able to retire at 64, now they want me to retire at 72. Well, that's 8 more years. That's a goddamn decade almost. That's crazy. The fuck is wrong with you? Well, we have to keep paying the interest rate on the Federal Reserve fiat currency. So that being the case, we're going to have to make you work more or harder or give you less and tax you more so that we can pay off our obligations to a third-party banking that gives you your currency. Well, this was never going to work for anybody except the highest echelon of people that were invested into this. Everybody that's a working stiff like you and me, giggity, we're going to have problems making ends meet as it went. The first 30 or 40 years, this is why boomers had such a better life. Because boomers were at when the high end of the dollar, when the dollar was worth something, boomers were living. They were 20 years older, teenagers. So you can say, well, here, little Johnny, here's $5. And that's a whole fucking day. That's your food, your transport. You're going to the movie. You're out at the park. You get ice cream. Everything's a fantasy land. You buy a house for $21,000. You get a car for $2,600. Yeah, you didn't have very much money, but you could save easier because your obligations were cheaper. You had rent at $150 to $200 a month. You had the ability. Now, you couldn't get credit cards, but who says I wanted a credit card? So what they did was they said, well, we're going to give all the poor people credit cards and access to houses. Spoiler alert, poor people and people that don't work don't deserve credit cards. Right back in 1995, you couldn't get a credit card as a deadbeat. You had to have a job. You had to have a go-ahead, a say-so, collateral in some cases. That's what it was. You couldn't just get a credit card. You couldn't get a credit card to rebuild your credit going to, what was it? Not Experian. What's it called that does their credit report? Credit Karma. You couldn't go on to Credit Karma and apply for a fucking deadbeat credit card at 32% interest to rebuild your credit. It was difficult. You would apply for 6 credit cards. You'd be lucky to ever get one. Well, you shouldn't restrict credit. Yeah, you should. The fuck's wrong with you? Yeah, you should. If you got a loan from a bank, you used to have collateral. you'd have to have a co-signer or put your car up so that if you got the loan and you didn't pay it, the bank would seize your fucking car. Stupid. They didn't just say, oh, here's $4,000 because you're just someone. No, are you kidding me? When I got my first car loan, I had to have my grandmother with an 850 credit score. What's up, B Lance? What's up, America? What's up, Balance? Oh my God. I am so high. So like when my first car loan, I had to have my grandmother co-sign on it because I didn't have the credit. They were like, well, you don't have credit. You're 20. I'm like, well, I don't know what to do. So, because they weren't just going to give it to you. They're like, you're fucking 20. Suck dick. I'll give you credit after you've been at a job for 5 to 7 years and you've purchased something with cash as collateral first. Yeah, exactly. That's what it was. The parents' credit co-signed on the shit. But now it doesn't matter. You have an 800 credit score. You can't afford a $500,000 house. The fuck, you know what I mean? Hell yeah, damn right, Balance. This has got grape pie weed with platinum cake live rosin. That's what the fuck we're talking about. Hey, I'll never own a home, so smoke it while you got it, right? This'll get you fucked. Are you high? Here, hit it again. Oh, come on, Troopy.
By the way, we're opening the church office tomorrow.
What? Who said?
I got an email.
You lie. That's some bullshit.
That is.
It's fucking. So the bigger thing you should be worrying about has nothing to do. Like, I don't give a fuck what the stock market says. Right? I don't care what your stock market says. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, my friend. The stock market doesn't mean shit. That's an indicator of how wealthy the rich are. The value of the dollar is down quite substantially since Donald Trump has been in office. It's down substantially just overall. But since Trump has been in office, the dollar's down 10.8%. Gold is $5,100 an ounce, and silver is over 100. Like, what are we doing here? Right? This is not conducive. You're not going to do anything good here. And so you wonder, well, why can't I get in a house? Because your money is toilet paper, ladies and gentlemen. Your money is fucking nothing. It's a cum rag. There's nothing to it. Right? It's garbage. It's useless. Other countries don't want to use our money. The only reason they do is because we're holding what's left of our manufacturing prowess over their head. Which, I got news for you. America, other than its military, is a smoke and mirrors economy. Our economy is double China. Some say triple. Half of our economy is fake, speculatory horse shit. Debt and fake bullshit. Half of our economy is your asses buying our debt and us making up what we think it might be because we allow Citadel and a couple other private equity bullshits and BlackRock and stuff to do what we do here. So at any given point when this system finally becomes hypercritical, which as long as they continue quantitative easing, they won't. But ladies and gentlemen, eventually everybody runs out of money. It doesn't matter how you slice it, how much tax you take from the citizens. You run out of money at some point. This is what happened to the Roman Empire. So let's get a parallel and I'll get out of your hair here. Because you're looking very sexy, by the way. It's those glasses. Librarian hottie. Anyway, what it is you get like the Roman Empire was a very wealthy empire that utilized a lot of its labor on slave class but also in the working class. And they had a lot of military non-misadventures, military occupations into far-flung places like Spain, Portugal, through France, all the way up to Hadrian's Wall. Some say Norway, right? That's arguable. Into the German forests, all the way into the Balkans, Greece, down to Egypt, North Africa, modern-day Syria and Israel. Some say as far as even Iraq and Western Iran. Some semblances of at least expeditions have been found. And you say, so what the fuck happened? The fuck happened to this? We had the Roman Empire. I know Alexander the Great, he rose and he crippled everything. But one, it was a soft target. He was a master general. And after his death, it fell apart. The Roman Empire was a solid beast. Took out Carthage. Wiped out Hadrian when he came to attack. Took out the Spanish hordes. Went against the Germans and the Celts. Wiped them out. Well, not all the Celts. Hadrian's Wall, after all. So what the fuck happened? So, you had the same situation. At some point, when they took over the Balkans, the Balkan areas, they decided that everybody should be a citizen. What's up, Dave? Everybody needs to be a citizen. So if you're in Roman territory, now you're a citizen. Sound anything similar like they want to do? Just give everybody amnesty. Fuck it. Oh, that's really parallel. We're right at that point now. So that'll happen at some point. Everybody will be given amnesty. Well, you had a very wealthy society that was now in charge of feeding. And I know you're saying, well, these people worked. Yeah, they did. They worked hard. But social structure and society still was Roman. And you started getting outliers of culture that were not Roman, that were infiltrating pagan types of worship that were destroying the Roman god system and the Julius Caesar style of worship. The disenfranchisement of your society now being called Roman, but your history was taken over. So you started getting back and forth. You started getting revolts like Alaric and shit like that came up. I think that was in Bulgaria. And then you started just having a haves versus have-nots, where you had the Roman noble elite, that vast swaths of land that would buy military service, buy their way into government office, leaving the no types of merit service, no types of, doesn't matter how hard you work, you were never able to come up. Slave class that also existed, governance that wouldn't listen to its people. Does this all seem like we're kind of doing the same thing? The government doesn't listen to its people, a rising aristocracy while the wealthy are gaining and the poor are losing out more and more. You see the worship, let's make Elon Musk a trillionaire. We're all really on a parallel with the Roman Empire. But then what happened at the end was the external forces that were nipping at the bite, or that the chump, started being able to capture territory when there wasn't military to exert their force to keep the borders together. And that came from internal struggle. So the military of the Roman Empire was recalled in order to deal with uprisings, which made the barbarian hordes gain territory in unprotected areas or lightly protected areas. So you would have maybe 4 or 5 Roman legions on a Germanic border or Hungarian border, and 2 legions would have to be recalled to Rome to stop an uprising, and another legion would be recalled to stop another uprising in Spain because of whatever. So then instead of 5 legions on the border, you would have 2 legions on the border. And then what would happen? The barbarian hordes would overtake, and then so we're now in the internal struggle type of mixing with trying to get people citizenship that aren't actually American citizens. It'll cost a great deal of money. And then eventually the barbarian hordes come and they kill all the rich. They rape their women and take their land and forces. sell people in trafficking to their neighbors. This all happened, by the way. And then the spoils of war go to the barbarians. Or initially, it splits the empire into those that want a semblance of what's left versus the barbarian hordes that have taken over. But even those Eastern Roman Empire fell when the Islamic hordes came in. So, and then if you look today, you have a bunch of nonsense, nincompoop barbarians throwing feces at one another, mixed with a group of illegal aliens. And then, of course, you have Islam, which is still chomping at the bit there. And so once the government of the United States or the West is destabilized in some sort of way, either through the overt cost of mass migration, potential failures in the military, if they're not able to fund their soldiers or give them supply properly, then that'll go into infighting, because once a government is seen as weak and open, people will revolt. And that'll usher in an external movement, which will be either Islam or it'll be China. Or it'll be both, which is hilarious because China historically hates Islam. So you'd have Islam trying to rise in one side while the Chinese are trying to fuck with you on the other. And then eventually, through the destabilization, the communists would take over and then kill the Islamists, put them in camps. Which is hilarious because they would both be working for the destruction of the West, but then Islam would eventually lose due to not being at prowess to fight the Chinese. So as of right now, the thin line that's stabilizing this world between the Chinese horde takeover of the Western world and Islam destroying the remains of Christendom is apparently the United States military. And if that gets defunded or ill-supplied, then you don't have anybody but rebellion groups to form up to fight these fucks, and you'll be poorly supplied. And what happened with Rome? A lot of people pretended and stopped being Roman. So you had a lot of people that were in Rome that they gave up and they said, fuck this. They joined the barbarians. They said, I'm not a Roman, I'm a Hun. I'm not a Roman, I'm a Saxon. I'm not a Roman, I'm an Angel, or I'm a fucking Vandal or a Goth. Why? Because they didn't believe in it anymore. They simply didn't believe in Rome anymore. They said this is bullshit and stupid. How many younger generations look at this and say, why should I work? Well, why should you work? I mean, I understand working for yourself. You work to build your house, you get the supplies, maybe you run a business, whatever it is. But why would you work to make somebody else rich? And that's what they're saying is, I work 50 hours, 60 hours a week, and by the time it's all said and done, there's no money left over. It doesn't matter how many 70 hours a week, there's no money. Once it's all said and done, there's nothing to have, there's nothing to gain, there's nothing to fix. So I'm just not going to do it anymore. Well, no, you have to work to survive. It's like, but that's just surviving. So working to survive is similar to just eating berries out of the field and foraging. You're just working to forage on service. And then you use that forage to buy your food. I don't even know if it's actually food at this point. And to buy your entertainment and shit like that, which then you just do it over again, over and over and over and over and over and over at a more expensive rate that you have to work harder and harder for. And when you look at that, in historically speaking, you have to have some type of like reason to do what the fuck you're doing. Right? So if I work hard, I can buy a house. Well, why do you want a house? So then I don't have to pay rent to a lord anymore. So I can just have the house. So I can die in my bed without having to pay except for maintenance. Okay? I want land. Why? So I can do whatever. I can shoot a gun on it. I can grow weed on it. I can have cows. I can fuck my wife on it. I can do whatever I want. because it's mine, and get the fuck away from me. That's what it is. Well, no, now that property's $500,000, and the house is $500,000. And oh, well, you better have a 870 credit score with a $80,000 down payment. Don't forget 3 times the rent. Oh, and are you a criminal? Oh, do you have, and it's like, okay. So what you did is you made so many hoops to go through that there's no way to make it happen. Well, we had to do that because this, that, or the other. You didn't. We're protecting ourselves. It's not about you. You're providing a service. You're not a god. You want to be treated, your company wants to be treated like you're a person, like you're a poor widow. And you're not a poor widow. You're a fucking grabastic, money-grubbing cocksucker that needs to get the shit beat out of you if you are a person, but you're a company. And I'm not talking about your concrete company. I'm talking about giant corporations that bought up all the houses, and you know what I'm talking about. What's up, Robert? Or Robbie? I said Robert. Anyway, so value of the dollar's down. Minnesota rages. ICE agents are pulling out. Republicans are pissed. Donald Trump says he's taking them out. Angelina Jolie leaving America. Pretentious bitch. Iran is still killing people. Their government needs to be bombed. Nobody cares. I want them dead. The government of Iran. TikTok was broken for almost 2 days. I had a video sitting there for 2 days. Finally got 1,000 views. Once again, if TikTok doesn't give me my account back, I'll never return to politics there. After 80 years, Germans are breaking away from America. Department of Justice is examining Ilhan Omar's finances in California. Thank you, Robbie. And of course, in California, they have now discovered $24 billion of homeless fraud that they're going to be launching an investigation into now. So federal judges are considering pauses on immigration crackdown. And Pete Hegseth approves the use of military bases to get rid of illegal aliens. Ted Cruz on a secret recording is trashing Trump and Vance. And people like Marco Rubio, surprisingly. Melania is supposed to be a shitty movie. And China is winning the AI race. Anti-Islamic rhetoric taking over, and 1,000 people evacuated after a 3-mile-long landslide in Sicily leaves houses teetering off a cliff. So people are running away from that. Lab-grown life is now making headway in the future of Saudi Arabia's $2 trillion mega city called Neom hangs in the balance. We've talked about Neom before. I don't know if you like Neom. Thank you, Donnie. Donald Trump wants Minnesota chaos to stop. They were beating up a hotel yesterday. And Trump talks cooperation with Tim Walz. Minnesota Republican ends campaign for governor, claiming ICE enforcement is unconstitutional. And New York Islamic Youth Center director vows to fight the government, military, ICE to the last breath, and Allah will replace you. Yeah, see, I don't like Islam, really. Kentucky Senator candidate Nate Morris calls for full moratorium on immigration. And Drudge Report and is leftist, and Breitbart is still right-wing. China's top general ousted, and latest military purge. And Border Patrol actions. So this is going to spark protests. Border Patrol agents' actions will likely fall within agency's policy to use force. That's going to be a sad protest there. And 18 people have now died from the winter storm. It was 9. God damn, man. 18 people. One girl had snow fall on her and kill her. And Russia claims that Nicolas Maduro was given up by a traitor. Oh, and honey, a social media trial begins against Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok about teenagers being addicted to it. And Illinois law forcing pro-life doctors to provide abortion is deemed unconstitutional. And as you know, Tom Homan is going up to get rid of all the ICE agents in Minnesota. I think they already actually started doing that. So that's what's going on there. Don't really know what to tell you. That's the news. It's a bunch of bullshit-ass gobbledygook. Guy Ferrari is still hardcore, it looks like. And there's stuff buried under the pyramids of Egypt. So that's fantastic. All I ever wanted to do was just travel the world like Anthony Bourdain. And liberals made it so hard to live. And Republicans, you never did anything to help me out financially. Never making it so I could make more money easily. It was always hard. So you both suck my asshole. There's that. So anyway, go follow me on TikTok, Sup America. That's my archaeology page. And follow me here. Subscribe here on, was it Hello America Sup? I'll at some point just change it to my name, Sup America, but I'll get to it eventually. Thank you, Donnie. And follow me on X, Sup America, or Hello America Sup, whatever the fuck it is over there. Should probably change that too, shouldn't I? Holy shit. Anyway, so that's what it is. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, hit the notification button. If you don't like me, block me and suck my asshole. And yeah, so thank you, Donnie. I obviously am going to add blocked words on here because I am so goddamn sick of trolls and I don't care. So see you later. Bye. We'll go into my government one of these days.